In the heart of every home lies a pulse, a life beyond its walls, where echoes of the past refuse to fade. In one quiet neighborhood, a child's innocent deliveries to a friendly neighbor become a chilling introduction to the supernatural. Then there are those aged dwellings where the air is thick with history and sorrow. In one such house, the laughter of invisible children fills the night, and an old woman's spectral gaze unnerves even the bravest of hearts. For some, it's the lingering touch of a departed relative, felt in the pull of a jacket, or the strange, cold pressure in the air reminding us that the space between our world and the next is not as thick as we'd like to believe. Each home, a silent witness to stories untold, whispers of the unseen, waiting in the shadows. We'll see you on the inside. Folks, welcome back to Sleep with the Lights On. We hope you guys are having a fantastic day wherever you're listening from. And actually, how about you comment down below where you're listening from? We got any international listeners at this point? I'm not talking about you, Canada.
What about Australia? We know
attached to you.
We know there's an Australian listener.
Sure. We know there's at least 2 or 3. Good eye. Going down there. It's the last I'm going to do of that. I apologize if that ran you off.
That's what he says every time he does that accent.
Every single time. It gets very weird when I'm alone and I do accents, just talking like a weirdo.
That
in
is
my house.
Pretty weird.
It's very strange.
I don't even think I necessarily talk to myself when I'm alone, let alone in accents.
Well, sometimes you get bored, Christian, and sometimes when you spend all day editing videos and podcasts, you get a little wacky.
You get a little wacky.
Folks. We got some interesting stories for you today, as I mentioned in the monologue, which I'm also getting tired of doing those. But that's fine. People need to hear how tired I am. You're here for spooky ghost stories, and let me tell you, I got some good ones for you.
I'll be the judge of that.
He will be the judge of that, as is tradition. If you are new to the show, be sure to check out the podcast that we drop every single Thursday called The Freaky Deaky, wherever you get your paranormal podcasts. We drop fresh episodes of this show, Sleep with the Lights On, every other Friday. And we've been chugging along that for almost a full year now. Can you believe that? It's almost been a full year been running this show.
I can't believe how long we've been doing the podcast.
I know. We're getting up there. It almost feels too long. It feels like, when you're in like season 7 of your favorite show and you're like, hey guys, you probably should have quit after season 4.
I don't feel like that because I feel like our stuff's getting better.
Well, we'll let them decide. Maybe I'm just feeling myself slowly withering away and dying. Is that what you want? Is that what you desire? No, at some point I won't have a job and I'll be able to focus on fun stuff like this. Then you'll really see growth. We're right here. And just for a visual, just for you, this is where we're going to go. Yeah, you like that? Well, you're going to like this story even more. This first story is called The House Guest, and it is brought to you by Mobile Beta. Wouldn't it be great if we had sponsors so we could just drop in there? It's brought to you by Arrowhead Water.
No. I
would take anyone, okay?
Yeah, I would
even
too.
Shit-ass water like Arrowhead, I will take you.
I'm not a big Arrowhead fan, especially after they sponsored the Ducks.
Gross. Get out of here, Arrowhead.
This was years ago, though. I don't think they're a sponsor anymore.
People don't forget, apparently. Anyway, The House Guest by Mobile Beta says, I grew up living next door to a middle-aged Chinese woman who befriended my mother. My mother would regularly send me next door with freshly baked cookies or to deliver messages to her, and she was always friendly and happy to chat. One year, our neighbor returned from China with an elderly friend who we occasionally saw looking out of her upstairs window. I recall seeing this man a few times standing at the top of the staircase when I visited to deliver messages to the woman. I also recall talking to the woman in her kitchen while hearing her elderly friend play billiards upstairs.
They have billiards upstairs?
I know. How'd you get that thing up there?
Wow. Maybe it's a different type of billiards or not with that serious table.
Maybe it's one of the mini ones that you find at Target or something.
Yeah. Remember caroms?
Caroms?
It was like pool with the little rings that you shoot with the stick.
Yeah, I do remember that actually. It wasn't until I was much older that my mother mentioned that the neighbor lived alone.
What?
And what I witnessed was a ghost that my neighbor brought back from China and couldn't get rid of. My mother had seen him too. It really creeps me out to think about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That explains the billiards, too.
exactly. And so you go to China and you bring back a man that watches you at the top of the stairs. That's a no from me, man. I'm like, what you got to be as a spirit that you just come back and you're like, yeah, I'm just going to hang out right here.
Sometimes ghost stories in other countries they hit different.
Mhm.
Like this one, like,
Yeah. And I found this story and I was going to save it for an episode, but I was like, this is actually, it's brief enough that it fits in with Sleep with the Lights On, the flow of what we do for this show. And I was like, I'm just going to use it here, but I am working on an episode for the podcast of ghosts that follow you from places that you visit. So like attachments, ghosts that like attach to you when you leave a location and then come and just live with you for the rest of eternity or some shit. Who knows? But,
which is obviously what happened here. She went back to China and brought home. I wonder if it's
like a family, like a relative thing or something.
Right.
Maybe.
Because, and we touch on religion every once in a while here, but
do we? Doesn't sound like us.
Before we had the big three religions we talk about all the time now, and there was ancestor worship. And maybe it's something similar to that.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if it was. It would be terrifying, however, for your entire, like most of your childhood to see this and then not learn until like way later that be like, wait, she lived alone. Like, no, I think you're misremembering. There was 2 people who lived in that house with her. We all saw them.
No, the guy that stared out at me from upstairs.
It was totally normal and I didn't think anything of it.
Son, that was a ghost.
Yeah.
From China.
I'm going to start doing that. Just about anything. Be like, what are you talking about? That wasn't real. You're misremembering things. Anyway, what do you guys think about that, huh? You got any spirits? Have spirits ever followed you home from vacations or Rite Aid?
I was sitting here waiting the whole time for the ghost to appear, and it was there the whole time.
You're like, what a crazy lead into this ghost story. Those are some of my favorites, though, the ones that kind of catch you off guard. And so brief, I'm just like, oh, where's this? And it's like, what? They were alone. It's like that. The call was coming from inside the house. It's always coming from inside the house.
That's one thing that doesn't work anymore because
cell phones.
Yeah. They took away one of the scariest things of childhood.
Damn you, AT&T. Also, you can sponsor us. Somebody tag AT&T and say, you guys need to sponsor this spooky ghost show. And like, I had to tag Bones Coffee. Christian, anyone you want to throw in there? Who do you want to sponsor the show?
You put me on the spot there.
Double mint gum? No. What free shit do you want to get? Nothing? Okay.
There's all kinds of free shit I want to get. I don't remember what, though, at the time.
That's fine. We'll think of it. We'll start reaching out to people when we hit 2,000 subscribers. We're close. We're close.
Get us there, folks.
And did you know that if we hit 10,000 subs this year, Christian's going to shave his head? He said that. He said that.
I did not.
He did.
Oh, no, I absolutely will not.
Will you?
No.
10,000? Come on, man.
Nope.
10,000. Okay. 20,000?
Nope.
25,000?
Nope.
30,000. Christian, do I need to remind you that hair grows?
It might not grow back right.
It comes back all splotchy or patchy, and you're like, damn it. Then you resent the show forever.
Yes.
Doesn't that sound fun?
Then I can't be on camera anymore because...
I'll just blur you like they do like the murder mysteries. Or
good one.
Like, who's that mysterious man that sounds exactly like Christian but never shows his face? It's fine. Anyway, this next story is called The Greek Revival. It's by Marcus, 1640. Oh, this book is very heavy. And filled with knowledge, no doubt. Anyway, in 2014, my wife and I bought our first home, a Greek revival built in 1814.
What the hell's a Greek revival?
I imagine it's like a big tent revival, but with more tzatziki.
I don't think you're correct.
I don't have to be. This is a show that we produce. We can say whatever we want. The house had sat empty for 10 years. It's probably got like pillars, like those Greek pillars. That's probably all it is.
Probably like white and looks with stucco on the outside.
It probably looks pretty dope,
with
actually.
Some blue in there.
Hell yeah.
That's all I know about.
Hell yeah. Describing Jeffrey Epstein's building, but it's fine.
I was describing houses in Mykonos, which is Greece.
Oh, mansplaining Greece to everyone. Anyway, the house had sat empty for 10 years. The owner had passed, and the family wanted too much for it and wouldn't budge on the price for years. Somehow, we were in the right place at the right time. They dropped the price from $300,000 to $120,000, and we got it for $90,000. Holy crap. Now that's a steal.
Sounds like trouble.
Oh, yes. It needed absolutely everything. Many people had passed away in the home. The front door was a casket door, meaning the width of the door allowed for a casket to go through.
Wow.
Yeah, they're like, so many people are dying in this house, we need to widen the door. Can we do that? And also $300,000, damn it, give it to us. Wide enough for a casket to go through, common in old houses in New England.
I never would have thought of that, but it does make
Right.
sense.
Yeah. Our first night sleeping in the home at around midnight, my wife shakes me and tells me to go downstairs and make the kids go to bed. I get up, walk through the bedroom door. One of my Rottweilers follows me. In the hall, I hear giggling and laughing from downstairs. I walk toward the stairs, passing by the kids' bedroom door, which is wide open. My kids are in bed. Suddenly, the dog starts growling. She hears what I hear. Do you hear? Oh, anyway. What sounds... Why in the middle of the year, Scott? It's fine. What sounds like a little girl giggling downstairs. I did not go down. I went right back to my bedroom. I say to the wife, babe, the kids are in bed. I'm not going down there. We heard a bit more giggling, maybe another minute, and then we go to sleep. A month later, I have a mobile mechanic come by to get my skid steer repaired on a Saturday. The family... Skid steer?
I have no clue.
Is that a piece of farming equipment? And please remember, before you laugh at us, this is a spooky ghost podcast, okay? I think that's like a... I'm going to stop. It's fine.
I've never worked on a farm.
The family goes to the beach, myself included. Around 3 in the afternoon, the mechanic calls me. He asks if I will call my mom or mother-in-law and have her let him in to get some water and use the bathroom. I tell him that neither are there, and why is he asking that? He tells me that there's an old lady who's been watching him work through the upstairs window. I tell him that that is impossible. That window is in a staircase. It's 8 feet from the floor. Nobody can stand there. And also, there's no old lady at my house. He freaks out, packs up, and leaves. Didn't finish the job. My wife saved the house, spoke to the spirits, and put a bouquet of flowers for the old man to give his wife.
What is save the house?
Well, that's what I'm explaining right now.
Okay.
His wife, he's pretty much saying my wife saved the house by doing this.
Oh.
Spoke to the spirits and put a bouquet of flowers for the old man to give his wife. She told them that it was their house too. Please live with us nicely and don't scare anyone. We never had another experience in the home again. Sold it in 2020. Now...
Made bank.
I know, 300,000 probably. No. Now, the new place we are in, no ghosts, but lots of orbs in the woods. Have even had them come up to the windows. The first time I thought it was an intruder with a flashlight, had the cops and everything. That is weird. That you hear a lot of like orb stories, but a lot of times you're like, oh, it's dust in a picture. But the fact that something actually comes up to your window and you're like, is that someone trying to break in with a flashlight? That's a bright ass orb.
I'd never really been a big believer in orbs, but I'd seen a video recently that was not supernatural in any way, but it was definitely orbish.
Orbish.
Not Star Wars, Orbish.
Wow. Deep cuts that probably nobody will understand, myself included. That's fine.
It's a form of writing in Star Wars.
Ooh.
I'm a nerd.
Are you?
Yeah.
That was never clear. What do you think about that? You know what actually always gets me about stories like this is the ones, for whatever reason, it's extra creepy when the person's like, there's no way someone's looking out at you from that window. It's 8 feet off the ground. You know, you'd have to be super tall or have a ladder on the stairs.
Or be able to float.
Mm-hmm. That was that Vegas story, that demon that I had in Vegas in my apartment or wherever. The girl that gave it to me, hey, shout out to you also. Thank you for that. How she mentioned her friends, like she could never see it, but her friends could. One of those stories was that it was staring at her from like a second story window, just outside staring at. I'm like, no.
So if this lady or ghost figure was staring out of a window that high up, makes me wonder if the house was renovated at some point, and maybe that had been like a room or something
just
up there.
Or do you think they do it for a scare factor? Or were they just listening to Creed before that and they're like, can you take me higher? That's probably the least likely explanation out of the three, but you got to throw in a bad explanation just so you have one to just knock off the board of me and then be like, you know what? Definitely not that.
I feel like we should never throw in a Creed song on this podcast again.
Blinky meme. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that. But I throw in very cringy horrible music all the time references, because for whatever reason, those are the ones that get stuck in my head. Not the good songs that I love. It's always and you know what, secretly, if I were to put on Creed Higher right now, I bet I'd love it. I bet I'd eat that shit up. I'd be like, on repeat, but windows up in the car from driving.
This is what happens when you become a dad. You start listening to dad rock.
My dad listened to Creed.
I rebel against
I know
what I'm supposed to do.
But you listen to like the worst garbage of all time because it's exclusively like Germans.
Not exclusively.
Doing like, like some glockenspiels.
That almost sounded like Indian or, Bollywood type music, what you just did.
Yeah, and you would know because you listen to that too, probably. So that's fine. No, I'm not here to judge you. Unlike you, I let people live their lives without judgment. That's not for me to decide. That's the man upstairs.
God doesn't like Creed. That's why they're not around anymore.
Scott Stapp is still around.
Unfortunately.
I think God likes Stop Scap. I can't say his name. It's fine. I'm done talking about Creed in this episode of the Spooky Ghost Podcast.
Thank you, Jesus.
What I will do is say, hey, and actually, let me ask you this. No, you don't get ads on YouTube, huh?
No.
Damn.
Sometimes at work, when I play it at work, I do.
Look, I have been strategically launching into commercial breaks and putting the exact moment that I say it into the time slot for an advertisement. And every time that I've put the video on, it doesn't happen. And so I'll be like, we'll be right back after a word from these sponsors. And it just cuts to me going, and we're back. Hey, YouTube, trying to create an ambiance here. Okay. And I don't know if it's just me because it's my video. It doesn't play the ads where I put them, or if that's happening. So I'll do it right now. And if the ad doesn't happen after this, you let me know. You comment below. You say, hey, that was dumb as hell and it didn't work and you need to do better. And we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. After 5 seconds, what are you, some kind of asshole? Oh, hey, what's up? You skipped after 5 seconds? Did you see it? Was it there? We'll figure that out in time. This next story, if I may, and I may because I'm the captain. What'd you say? I'm deaf.
Okay. I didn't say anything.
Okay. I will figure it out, Christian, and I'll put words on your face again. Don't make me put words on your face. Also, we're hiring an editor. The going rate is $0 and our feet pics. Interested?
Oh, we're going on House of Dragon.
Okay.
Laris Strong. He likes the feet.
I don't think they have iPhones in House of Dragon, but I could be wrong.
They have feet.
Okay. Anyway, this next story is called I Walked Through It. And it's by
On His Feet.
Autumn Shine. And I have a correlating story with it, or it reminds me of something I experienced as well. That's the only reason I put this in there, so I could talk about my thing. I'm not selfish or conceited, but also I'm kind of selfish and conceited.
Look at the ego on that guy.
Wow, Christian, you should not be mentioning ego on anyone. And I'm self-deprecating like a motherfucker. So, I don't even love myself, okay? And that's the first thing you should do is what I hear.
I'm working on him.
Okay, gross. We continue. It was more of a window of time than a moment because things kept happening back to back. Something pulled the back of my jacket. It did scare me. When I had to go back down the hallway, I loudly, verbally told the energy not to pull my clothes. Now, you don't pull my clothes, energy. These are my clothes. Get your own. This was not some random place. It was the house I grew up in. Then I started walking through something. There was nothing there, but something was there. In fractions of a second, my hands were out in front of me because my body was reacting to something being there. It was so strange. I thought I stepped on an electrical wire or something. I tried to debunk it. It felt like I walked through a coldish curtain of balloons or something. I don't know how to describe it. It happened 3 or 4 more times. I was following my mom around her house. I believe it was her dad following her that day. She had been showing me the things that he made shortly before. There were other things that happened that day and it really rattled me. But I believe it was her dad and I just happened to be more sensitive. Maybe because I verbally acknowledged the presence after it pulled my jacket. Although it was not negative, nothing prepared me for what I experienced. I more than believe in paranormal occurrences. Every time something happened, I froze out of disbelief, out of fear, and because it was physically affecting me. This wasn't the first time in my life that I experienced something paranormal. I never expected multiple things to happen or to feel so strongly. While this specific collection of events was happening, I still had a hard time reconciling it. More happened in a small amount of time than I've ever seen in a paranormal show. It was about 4 years ago. I went home terrified, to be honest. Now,
The reason you don't see more in a paranormal show is because they're pretty fake.
that does check out, surprisingly. This is the first time that I've found a story that correlated with something that I experienced when I was a kid. I'm not even sure if I've told the whole story, but I've told the microwave part of it, right? Seeing something reflection of a microwave.
Right.
Big old shadow person in the entryway to the kitchen. When I walked through that entryway, and I've just, like, the way she described it as like a cold curtain of balloons is very interesting to me. But what I described it was as like walking through invisible jello. And both of those are equally strange, but like there was like a thickness to it. Like it was like you could physically feel going through something that was only like, I don't know, maybe 6 inches deep.
I feel like you should know what this is. It's called ectoplasm.
I was going to say ectoplasm when you said that, but like at the same time, I'm like, no, isn't ectoplasm supposed to be like black and dripping out of the walls or something like that?
It's green on Ghostbusters.
Okay, well.
So I guess it could be whatever color you see. I mean.
Yeah. But I mean, it's when I read this, I'm like, holy shit, it seems like she was walking through the same thing that I kind of experienced. Cold curtain of balloons, though. That's hilarious. Has anyone else experienced something along those lines where you physically walk through something that you can't see? And like a paranormal, let's call it experience, not some random like spider web or something like that. We all do that. You're not
It's
special.
horrifying.
And it is horrifying, and that's absolutely right. It's almost worse than walking through the invisible jello or whatever I called it.
Yeah, at least with that, you walk through it and you're like, ooh, that was weird.
Like,
With the spider web,
freaky.
you feel it on you the rest of the day.
That is true. Yeah, you don't want that. But I'd be fascinated to hear if anyone else has had similar experiences like that. And maybe you describe it as something entirely different. Maybe you describe it as walking through a chorus of dancing frogs, you know?
Hello, my baby.
Yeah. Ragtime gal. Why not? Let's get on board with it. As far as I'm concerned, that's a pretty interesting story, mainly just because it made me extra curious. That's fine.
Your story was more interesting than that story.
My story?
Yeah, your addition to that story.
Oh, well, yeah, that's the whole reason I put it in there. So I could be like, hey, finally, I found something that was similar.
Let's talk about me.
Yeah. Hey, everyone, I exist.
I want to be a Leo for a moment.
Wow. Nope. Not even a moment.
Leos are the greatest.
Leos are exhausting, I'm finding out. Absolutely exhausting.
I can agree with you there. I'm very exhausting.
That is very true. Nary a lie to be found, but that's beside the point. That is all I got for you. Christian, what was your favorite story from today's episode?
I like the Chinese ghost.
That's the best one. That has to be, right?
That was a good little story that just totally like, wait,
yeah.
What?
Brief, to the point, and also very nice twist at the end there. What about you, huh? You just over there eyeballing us like a pervert? What's your favorite story? Be sure you're commenting that below. Do it right now. We're watching. We're always watching. Now, and actually, I should mention, we are inching closer to 100 members on the Facebook group. So if you would like to join in the conversation, do you find yourself to be weird? Do you find yourself that maybe you don't have many relatable friends, and maybe you want to talk about some fun stuff amongst cool people? Cool people is a relative term, but I'm sticking to it. There's a link in the description right now that will show you the Facebook group, so you don't have to even search for it. Just click that button. And look, hey, everybody hates Facebook. I hate Facebook. I honestly cannot stand it. But the group is fire. It's popping, as we say all the time. And you should join it if you're interested in these things, if you like interesting, funny memes and discussing episodes of the show, talking about the videos, all kinds of fun stuff there. Be sure to join that. Click the link in the description and be sure to follow us on social media wherever you are at, because we are also there. And listen to the show that drops every Thursday, wherever you get your podcasts.
That's what I do.
And don't you want to be just a little bit like Christian?
I think so.
There's at least 2 people on the YouTube that do. Christian, you've got some fans. I know. It took a while for people to start being like, I'm with Christian on this one. And I do a slow clap whenever I see it. I'm like, Finally, you got some friends. And you guys are all wrong, but that's fine. Honestly, we're not here to judge your opinions on things. We just want to have a spooky ghost time, And that's what we do. And you can too. And remember, friends, to check out the merch store. It's popping up. I forgot to mention it. The merch store is popping, guys. Honestly, great designs, great stuff. And you're going to want to get on board with that. And if you don't, donate to help us keep the lights on so that we can sleep with the lights on. It's on the website at the very bottom. We don't want to throw it in your face because we're not those people. But if you like what you see and you want to support the show, that is a great way to do so. And to those of you that have, including our producer, Eric, shout out to you, my man. You a real one. You a real one. And in time, we'll get more producers on the show. And at some point, we'll get an editor, and I won't have to spend my life slowly withering away. My fingers, it's fine, guys. Honestly,
I find it entertaining.
Yeah, and remember to sleep with the lights on, because you never know what is lurking in the shadows.
Dramatic.
Shadows.
Be scared